We've now defined a transaction as being an object that describes the transfer of funds from one account to another. Back at our flow diagram here, we're right on this step right here, where we had said that we had used the Web3 library to create a transaction object. After that object is created, the same Web3 library is then used to send that transaction object to the Rinkeby test network. So the transaction goes out to the network, and then we wait for the transaction to be confirmed. And that right there, this step, this wait right here, is the source of that 30-second wait that we were just kind of sitting around watching that spinner go. So you might have a big question. Why did we wait so long? Why did it take so long to confirm that transaction? Well, we're going to do an aside here, and we're going to start to dive into the Ethereum blockchain. I'm going to tell you right now, this Ethereum blockchain stuff is heavy duty. It is complicated. No two ways about it. It is tough stuff to wrap your head around. And I can almost guarantee you that at some point in time, you're going to say, Stephen, why is this blockchain stuff so hard? Why didn't they just make it easier? Well, I actually have a very good answer for you. When the people behind Bitcoin and the people behind Ethereum sat down and started thinking about a financial system that could be used to replace US dollars or euros or whatever other currencies that are out there, by definition, they had to make a system that they knew would be robust enough to handle billions or trillions of dollars of value being transferred between people every day. So these systems are not complicated for the sake of being complicated. The blockchain is complicated because it has to solve an incredibly difficult problem: the representation and transfer of millions, billions, trillions of dollars between people. That's why it's so complicated. So with that in mind, that's my little pep talk. Hopefully it was effective. Hopefully that keeps you going as we start to go through this blockchain stuff. So we're right here. We sent the transaction off to the Rinkeby test network, and then we want to answer the question, why did we wait? So this is going to be a long series of videos in which we try to answer the question, why we had to wait. So let's walk through this. All right, so we're right here. So we sent off our transaction to the Ethereum network. And to be more precise, it was the Rinkeby test network that we sent the transaction to. Now, when we sent the transaction out, it went to one very particular node. So I had said just a moment ago, oh yeah, we send the transaction to the network. Well, to be precise, the transaction doesn't just go to like this whole box right here. The transaction goes to one specific node. So our applications are always going to be interfacing with one node, and that node will be communicating with the rest of the network. Later on in this course, I'll show you in great detail exactly how we can tell what node we're connected to and how we can change that. But for right now, just understand we sent the transaction to one particular node. Once there, here's a diagram of the node. The node has an entire copy of the blockchain. And for right now, let's just understand the blockchain to be essentially a database. Let's leave it at that for right now. So our transaction arrived at this node. But you have to keep in mind that you and I are not the only people in the world. There are other people in the world who want to submit transactions as well. So maybe at the exact same time that you and I submitted a transaction, maybe two other people did as well. So maybe there's in total 3 transactions that are coming into this node at the exact same time. This node is going to take those transactions, which I've now represented here as T, representing our transaction, and O representing other people's transactions, and it assembles all 3 of those transactions into one list of transactions, which we refer to as a block. The node then runs some validation logic on this block. That validation logic is what takes the 30 seconds. The validation logic is what takes so long to get a response back to us and say, yep, looks like everything actually moved along okay. And that's kind of a cop-out when I say that. Validation logic, what does that really mean? When I say validation logic, I'm really talking about that term that you might have heard many times in the past when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum. You've probably heard of the term mining. Mining. So when these transactions right here get assembled into the block, the node starts running some calculations on the block, and that process is referred to as mining. Now, the process of mining is where things get complicated. So we're going to pause right here. We're going to continue in the next video, and we're going to start to dive into the world of mining. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll see you in just a minute.